ZKGM, everyone. Welcome back to another Union Hall cast. Today is a little bit like different topic-wise, because normally we have engineers, builders here, but we're gonna talk a bit more about something that say like Union might be a bit lacking at, which is the marketing side of things. Today I have Arya with me from Cryptic, one of the premier like marketing agencies. And I thought we could kind of dive into like the current state of maybe crypto sentiment, crypto marketing. To me, at least, it seems to have like really changed in the last year or so how projects approach it. And I'm very curious to kind of have a conversation on where it's going to head and what we're going to see maybe the next bull cycle. Maybe kick it off with a quick introduction for our listeners.
Of course. Well, first of all, thank you for having me, Karel. Nice to be here. I'm the founder of Cryptic. I started around 6 years ago in the marketing space in crypto, starting with mostly ICOs back then. And as you know, the market changes a lot. So we changed our course as well, but we're still doing a lot of marketing services and also media. As you know, we have our own Twitter space as well, Cryptic Talks with Pauli. So we're really like a marketing and media powerhouse, I would say, nowadays.
Cool. So, first of all, like I feel like crypto marketing is always obviously very different than regular marketing, right? And how you approach it,
Yeah.
because even though now that I've like founded Union, I realize behind the scenes you do try to have like a structured approach in it. I guess a lot of
Mm,
crypto projects try to give an air of it being more of a grassroots thing, right? They go for a lot of um, what I would say like social media communication channels. A lot goes through on Twitter as well, right? At least for me, being in the CT bubble, that's my main way for getting
yes.
crypto news. Um, does that reflect like mainly how like you guys also do your marketing, or are there like avenues I'm completely missing, where actually I'm sleeping on it, and most
Mm,
users actually get their news through a different like venue?
yeah. Great question. Look, I think marketing or all of these platforms have a different audience, right? So, for example, CT is like where the main crypto community is, where most traders are active. But back in the days, you also had Reddit, for example. I mean, it's still active, but Reddit,
Hmm.
subreddits, you have Telegram private channels, you have Discord, LinkedIn now as well. If you notice on LinkedIn, you have a lot of like founders or actual, let's say people that are doxed and have a professional company that are talking about RWAs, or that they're talking about institutions in crypto. So LinkedIn is also used. But it depends on what kind of projects you are, right? So what I've noticed is a lot of the RWA conversations happen, for example, on LinkedIn. On Twitter, it's more, I would say, retail. Retail is more active on Twitter, but the institutional side of things is more on LinkedIn. So I would say it really depends on the company that you are and what kind of target you're trying to reach. But each platform has their own audience. Like I think the biggest platform, if you look at it, I mean, in terms of retail, last bull cycle, it was TikTok, right? Most of these like ICOs did very well, even SafeMoon, for example, because of TikTok. Back then, you had so many meme coins and whatever influencers talking about SafeMoon and all these ICOs. So TikTok is where most of the new money comes in, and the retail. Instagram Reels maybe as well nowadays, but Twitter is still the main or the core where most of the traders are active, and most of the, I mean, OG guys and guys that have been in the space and are very active. So it really
Yeah,
depends on, per platform, I would say, but
makes
Twitter is
sense.
still the core.
Um, I indeed like. So before we start this podcast, we've introduced, and you immediately heard from my accent that I'm Dutch. And so
Mm,
you mentioned like Reddit and kind of like this all the media styles brings me back to how I got into crypto, which was very much like you find the
yeah.
subreddit of a certain coin or project. You kind of like do your diligence or whatever. You speak with
Mm,
like 30 people. You do a thread or whatever, and that way you like build up your thesis, and then you decide to buy your bags. I guess
yeah.
that kind of has disappeared a little bit in crypto, right? Like this idea that people kind of get involved with a coin and like buy and hold it for a year or whatever and become active in this like sub community like that. At least I have
Mm.
noticed it's a bit less. So for me, that's always a bit of a shame. Do you think we're going to get like even more of a transition to like TikTok and search, where like it's basically this like almost AI automated short form content? Do you think we'll maybe go a little bit back to having these inner circles as well? I remember originally, before like we really had crypto Twitter, a lot of like these inner circles were, you can question if it was truly inner circles, but it was a bit of 4chan as well, right? Like the Biz board as well was where I think like, for example, the original Chainlink community was based at around, right? And they were kind of like, when it was like sub 1 cent, discussing their theories, setting up campaigns and all of that. Has it all migrated to Telegram, you reckon? Or is it something that kind of has disappeared from crypto?
I think it's less active, but it's still there. I think back in the days, people were more focused on buying tokens and like insider information and these like alpha communities, etc. But nowadays, it's not really like that anymore. Like if you look at tokens that performed well the last few months, for example, Canton, that's just a very different kind of token than these tokens in the past. And it didn't happen in alpha groups and etc. They had institutional backing, and they have been building for a very long time. And they quite, I mean, they launched quite quietly, I would say. Like most of the tokens that are performing well nowadays are backed by institutions, so institutional money is in, and retail, I would say, is quite quiet and just dead in general the last few months. Or I don't know how you think about it or how you look at it.
Yeah, I feel a bit of the same. It felt that originally in crypto, retail could really like push the outcome of a certain coin, right? And so you almost had this feeling of like original GameStop or whatever, right? Like if 10,000 little guys can get together, you can actually significantly like move a coin up the ranks, move it up in mind share. And I don't think we've seen that happen recently, right? It feels like and there's a lot of king making happening, but indeed, like if certain institutions backing something and that's the one that wins, and even if retail or a community is really behind something else, it doesn't seem to like work out as well as it used to do. My guess is that's, to be honest, a sign of maturity for the industry a little bit as well, right? It's like with increased scale and more money behind it, yeah. And I think on
Yeah.
top of that, also retail maybe has lost, or at least like isn't thinking as long term anymore. Like when I got into crypto 2016, 2017, like getting good returns on a coin in 3 months was already considered quite good. Like people said, like sometimes have to hold something for like a year or two, right? They're building their V2 is going to come out in 9 months, and so you made your play based on that. Feels like right now the play is almost like holding something for a week is already quite long, right? Like people kind of like buy in 2 days before, sell a day after, and that's kind of the cycle that they're on, and then they go to perhaps the next project, next ICO. It probably has to do with perps trading as well, right? Like you mentioned, people buy less tokens themselves. They're, I guess, mainly trading the leveraged perp on it at the moment, which that's obviously something you don't want to hold for a long time. That's always a short-term play.
Well, look, I think in this cycle, when Trump launched his meme coin, right, and Melania, and that was a big liquidity extraction, or a lot of retail lost money there as well, right? And after that, I mean, before that, you also had Pump Fun, and it's still active, right? I think a lot of people lost money on these meme coins and these, like, let's say, investments. So people went from buying meme coins and trading meme coins to perps more, also prediction markets. So the crypto market is turning into, I mean, it was, meme coins are also gambling, right? It's a form of gambling, but they went on to literal gambling. If you look at prediction markets, Polymarket, Kalshi, and it's a bit safer actually, I think, than buying meme coins, especially now we're buying altcoins. So I think many people just switched from buying altcoins or buying meme coins and trading that to gambling, using prediction markets and also perp taxes, as you mentioned. So that's how I see it as well.
Yeah, yeah, makes sense. Another thing I really notice at the moment, my feed is mainly like engineers sharing what new shiny thing they're building on, or like white
Mm,
papers being shared. I notice a lot of mind share is also going to AI at the moment. If I think like which of the two like scenes at the moment has more like young builders throwing out an experiment at the moment, it seems to be like 99% AI. And on the
mm,
crypto side, most of the new stuff is either coming from like really established, like bigger projects that have like raised 200 million 3 years ago or something like that, right? And have like an in-house dev team. But I see a little bit less like this experimentation happening, random SDKs being written, or like new specs being produced by someone who just basically alone in the attic has built something cool. I'm wondering if you think we're gonna get like a return of that we see like more of interest on the crypto side, or if you think this might be like a more permanent switch as well to AI as the next like new shiny thing.
Good question. Let me see. Well, it mostly depends on Bitcoin, right? And macroeconomics. I think as long as Bitcoin stays down, we will not see much interest in crypto and altcoins. And that's just the truth. But it also depends on what's going on in, I mean, the world right now. It's very tricky. I don't think anyone expected Bitcoin to go down in Q1, and I mean the last few months, but it did. So a lot of crypto people are just, they lost 90% or whatever, and they're just looking at different things. So many of the crypto KOLs, as you mentioned, they're talking about AI, Cloudbot, and how to use AI agents, etc., because it's a relevant topic. There's not much to talk about in crypto. I mean, besides the institutional money, which most people don't really care about. They're just in it for the quick gains or quick trades. So it's not per se interesting for them, right? Especially on CT, you can see it's a lot more quiet about crypto, and it's more about AI, as you mentioned. What I did notice is on LinkedIn, people are they are a lot more active. I'm not sure if you use LinkedIn to check crypto news as well, but you see a lot of updates about the RWA market, for example, that are quite interesting. But I think tokenization is the main thing that people look at nowadays. And crypto tokens tokens can perform well, but it's heavily dependent on Bitcoin, BTC coming back as well, as you know.
And then the
So
hard
that's,
question: do you think it's going to come back, or are you less bullish on the OG coins?
well, I am bullish, but not short term per se. Like in the next coming years, I believe everything will perform well, or at least Bitcoin, and some of the top 10, top 20 tokens. But look, it's a very tricky situation, right? If Iran or US, if something happens there, oil prices will skyrocket. Probably gold as well. Bitcoin, I'm not sure, because last time gold and silver skyrocketed, Bitcoin was just stagnant or going down actually. So it's a very tricky market. I think long term, I also saw a tweet yesterday, I think from Eric Trump, where he mentioned that Bitcoin goes to 1 million in the coming years, and I believe in that as well. But short term, the next month or the next few months, you never know what happens, right? But I don't think we will see Bitcoin giving massive returns. But of course, nobody has a glass. What do you call it? Glass ball.
Yeah, glass ball. Yeah, crystal ball.
Crystal.
That's,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
What
Yeah.
about yourself? What do you think?
So I'm always bullish on like Bitcoin.
Mm,
What I feel what make me more bullish on the sector as a whole is that some of the what I would say like overpriced infra TGEs have kind of failed a little bit, which
yeah.
puts a lot more focus on like app builders for the last couple of years, like people that build products that have like a certain like actually generate revenue, right? Where it's quite clear, like okay, user clicks, they pay money for it, etc. For like 3 years, I would say it was quite hard for them to raise any capital, and you would see like as long as you build like a new L2 with higher TPS, you would raise like 10x the amount of someone who had a certain product that would actually generate revenue. I
Yeah.
think the little AVCs just got like completely wrecked on these infra investments at the moment, and that's some VCs who invested in actual apps and products have performed quite well. And so for
Mm,
me, what I've seen, there's a bit of a shift right now. Like everyone is investing in like revenue focused, actual user focused products. So I think that makes me extremely bullish for the next bull market, because I think that's a healthy change to this ecosystem. I don't think like crypto could sustain how many bull market would be like fourth or fifth one purely on like narrative again, right? Where you have a bunch of tokens that might represent something, but there's nothing really built behind it. So I see this as potentially like the final big shakeout, where indeed like for anything new that's being built, the token needs to like not just have a use case, but actually like a potential revenue share, equity portion, right? Like it needs to make sense compared to RWAs that we're putting on chain.
Yeah. I think what you mentioned about revenue is very important. Many of these tokens, they don't actually have users. And we can look at, for example, the Mindshare and Kaito, InfoFi tools and community, etc. Most of that is quite incentivized, right? Most people, they participate in a community because they get an airdrop or they get another incentive. So the hard part or the tricky question in crypto marketing is how can you make sure they stay? How can you make it sticky? So the customer experience needs to be really good, dependent on the product, of course. But many of these layer ones, layer twos, they don't actually have users. It's just well marketed, and then they are overvalued, and they raise a lot of money, and then they spend everything on marketing, and they still do it wrong. Many of these layer ones, layer twos. So as you mentioned, I think there will be a moment. I mean, the next few months, and the last few months, we saw already a flush out. A lot of these tokens will go bankrupt or will not be surviving, I think. And the ones that do revenue or actually have a user base, they will stay. The companies that do.
Yeah. Yeah, which makes me bullish on like attracting people back into crypto as well. I always was like kind of against this idea that you like hire a DevRel and then you magically attract engineers. Sure, like a project needs like good docs and you actually need to be able to build on top of it. But I never thought that actually attracts an engineer. Like what attracts an engineer is that they see something they can make money on effectively, right? Like in the end, you're attracting founders. And so they have to look at a certain ecosystem and go, oh, if I build this, I have a money printer, basically a revenue generating business. That's fundamentally to me what always like attracts builders and makes people come to your ecosystem. So hopefully the switch in mindset will basically like enable that and get everyone to focus on actually building revenue generating businesses on crypto. Do you see that with your clients, that they kind of have this attitude towards it too at the moment?
Yeah. So most of our clients right now are tokenization projects or companies. And before we also had a lot of RWA clients, but you can see that that's like the main narrative, right? For us at least, in where the money is flowing. So yeah, we do see it back as well. Let me see, like our clients, we used to have a lot of tokens as clients before, but we also have like companies that are, for example, market makers or wallets, stable coins, more infrastructure as well. So definitely, yeah. I mean, if you're not doing revenue, you will not survive probably, or you will burn out at some point. So yeah, we definitely see that as well in our client portfolio.
Yeah, it makes sense. Are there like any outliers, you'd say, right now? I'm trying to figure out like what crypto projects have like really interested me recently with their marketing. I feel like because Mega ETH didn't ICO yet, they kind of like or didn't TGE yet, sorry, and they do have some interesting projects like the tap trading stuff. They usually still stand out quite a lot amongst like the buzz infra. But besides that, I haven't seen many like unique approaches to marketing recently. No, like unlocks really where a project really figured out like a new niche that everyone is copying.
Let me think about this. Look, I think I think the best marketing is having a very good product and having adoption. Like it's very easy to like amplify that, right? In this case, for example, Canton, we're helping Canton with Cantor 8 and C8 wallet and marketing, and we brought them a partnership with Idina, and Idina is tokenizing $20 billion worth of, I think, tokenized equities, and that we just posted PR, or I think there was an article about this. That's like amazing marketing if you actually have like the numbers. So I don't know. I think many of these companies they need to work on their partnerships and their actual like on-chain numbers as well, how much they're tokenizing or what kind of governments are working with them, etc. That's the best kind of marketing you can have, like having the results.
Yeah, it makes sense. Did you
I
like
think
the whole?
I think Tria did very well in marketing as well. They worked with Mindo, as far as I know, Mindo AI. They had a pretty successful case as well. But there were a few marketing cases the last months that got my attention by other marketing agencies as well, or partners.
Yeah, I thought that Layer Zero, with their big unveil of
Yeah.
the Zero chain, did a really good job as well. If we talk about like doing marketing in a really institutional way, that felt like the most mature marketing events
Yeah.
in crypto, I think.
Mm.
Yeah. Um, so we kind of like, I would say like the conversation is kind of like almost looking somber in the sense that like crypto is becoming quite boring with marketing focus, with what seems to work at the moment. Is there then a role for like the fun side of crypto that's maybe not hyper gambling, or is that just like truly disappearing?
I mean, what do you define as fun? Like everyone has a different definition, right? So what is your definition of fun?
I would say like crypto used to have this almost like retarded attitude towards it, right? Where people knew like this token is stupid. Like we had like the what was it used as Ethereum token, ICO, etc. Right? Where it's like gambling, but not as much gambling as Pump.Fun was. Pump.Fun
Yeah.
almost like it created so many meme coins that it no longer became fun, right? It became like an assassination
Almost
market, a little bit boring. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, fun. Like, do you define NFTs and meme coins as fun, or like interesting ICOs that are undervalued? Like as you mentioned, Ethereum, right? Solana, etc. Like I don't know. It's tricky. I think VCs are also not allocating that much anymore, and if they do, it's projects that are completely overvalued. You see
Mm-hmm.
valuation few $100 million, and then they have no user base and no like nothing is going on at the launch. So I think valuations that need to go down when VCs invest. And the fun side, let me see. But I'm not a very big fan of meme coins, but I do think meme coins will always stay or will always happen. It's just a matter of time. I mean, when Bitcoin and altcoins kick back up, you'll have a lot of meme coin devs launching meme coins again. I'm not a very big fan of it again, but might be fun for a lot of people, right? It's like a casino, and I think it's more fun than gambling directly on Polymarket or Cauchy. But again, not something that I do personally or recommend. But for example, last month I think you had this penguin. Do you see the penguin, the Nietzschean penguin that's
Yeah.
walking towards? For example, that one went quite viral. There was a token launch, I think, or it was a token that launched, and it went to I don't know 100 million or 90 million market cap. So I mean, for a lot of people that was fun, right? But yeah, I have a couple of friends that are very active, or they are like big fan of meme coins. So they send me this meme. But yeah, there are things happening, but not often. I think now, especially with the market just being quite dead. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And one thing I've noticed a lot is like, what's it say? If the bags.fun, I think it's called, where people like meme coin something unrelated. We saw with like Claude bot going viral and a few tools around it that people were meme coining that. That I would say I would define as not as fun, because if you from the outside look at it, it's basically a bunch of people in crypto harassing someone not in crypto at all, right? And you get the Claude bot founder going like, "Leave me alone,"
yeah,
blocking people, etc. So I feel like what's missing on the meme coin portion right now is potentially a way to like incorporate stuff outside of crypto without like alienating those other parties, right? Where like the person who originally, I don't know, created the meme or was like in the video or made the product isn't telling everyone on Twitter like, please leave me alone. I don't want to be a part of this. I think that's kind of the key that meme coins are somehow missing right now. Where like originally we had like the dog and animal coin like mania for a while, right? Which had the original Doge founder like interacting with it, and so whenever like a new funny meme came out, kind of the people originally part of it were part of that community and interacting with it. Now
mm,
like back to me seems a little bit parasitic, and that's why like I feel like the marketing around it feels a little bit, and you get that
mm,
the coins themselves don't last as long either, right? Because if you have the
mm,
original person that was coined not actually wanting to be a part of it, then I guess
mm.
like it becomes less fun.
Yeah, I think there are, as you mentioned, too many different meme coins and too many different launches. If you look at the number of launches and tokens in general, I think CoinGecko made like a report. There were around 30 million, or I don't know how many, like 31 million. Like at that point, everyone's attention is just shattered. They
Mhm.
don't. they don't believe in community anymore, or they're not part of a community anymore. They're part of multiple communities, and they just go for a quick cash grab when you have a good launch even. As you mentioned, it used to be retarded, right? Or I mean, people were just like texting when Lambo, when Moon, and whatever in Telegram, and like hyping the most useless tokens up. And I think we lost that, but I think it's also good, to be honest. I'm not a very big fan of meme coins, but that's something that we lost. I think the meme coin
Mm.
rally. It might come back, but I'm not. It really depends on Bitcoin and the complete market going up, right? And I don't think it will happen quickly, but it probably. I think this year we might see something or a comeback, but it really depends on geopolitics and macroeconomics. But yeah, it's an interesting market. That's the least I can say. It's a very interesting market because you see layer zero, as you mentioned, and Canton a few months ago. And if you look at RWA XYZ, for example, the tokenization data, like it's growing very, very significantly the last 12 months, you can say. And it will keep on growing a lot, especially with these institutions coming on chain, JP Morgan, BlackRock, etc. So that's less fun, but it attracts more capital. And that hopefully will also help the market in some way.
Yeah, yeah, you made a good point about like how attention is kind of very scattered uh,
Mm,
at the moment, maybe forever. One thing I'm bombarded by as well is, of course, like all these like Y Combinator startup batches, right? And it feels like half of them basically built an AI agent platform that's your CMO or your marketing agency, right? Where like you have an AI agent who will non-stop produce boards to try to get you like relevance, conversions, etc.
mm.
You reckon that basically outside of crypto we're going to get like massive like attention scattering as well, when soon like every single like bootstrapped builder will just launch 50 agents who will just produce content non-stop to bombard TikTok? Like, is that the grim future of that marketing angle?
Yeah. I think AI is being used in a lot of different ways for UGC content, for example. I know a lot of e-com entrepreneurs are Dutch as well. So, the e-com space is very big in the Netherlands. They use AI for UGC content. It's a lot cheaper and more productive. To be honest, I don't use TikTok, so I have no idea. I'm not on TikTok. My team uses TikTok. I mean, we have a TikTok page with like crypto educational content and memes. And I don't think we use AI ourselves yet. I was thinking about maybe doing that, or Paulie told me, or a CBDO, to like attach a personal brand to it and use her face or my face. So I think AI helps with scaling. Like for example, if I would make videos of myself and put a camera in my house and whatever, like make edits all the time, it takes so much more time and effort. But when you have an AI tool that can do it, you can do it and speed run it and do it on a massive scale. So definitely we will see a lot more, but it depends on your algorithm. For example, you need to say something interesting or make an interesting video, a catchy video, uh, controversial, for example. It really depends on the content you make. Because I know a lot of people that make videos and don't reach a lot of people, especially projects on TikTok or Instagram, for example. But yeah, definitely it will be. I mean, already you can see the attention is scattered. Many people are just scrolling all day. But I have to say, TikTok and Instagram, I don't think it's very big for crypto yet. Like last bull market in the, let's say, the meme coin and ICO phase, it was very big. And this time as well with the meme coin rally and Murad and all of these meme coin guys, it was quite big as well for a few months. But at the moment, not a lot, I think. If I look at Instagram alone,
Mhm.
I don't think a lot of people have interest in crypto. I think crypto interest is like at not an all-time low, but very low. Also, if you look at the Fear and Greed Index, it's, I don't know what it exactly is, but it's around 2 or 4, I think. So it's very low. So yeah, I think retail is just scared and they're not watching much content about crypto. They got nuked already, or most of them.
Yeah, yeah, I feel the same. I'm not on TikTok at all, so
Yeah.
it feels like I have like I know a complete blind spot where I have like no clue at all. Right now, is marketing wise. tend to like think I'll just throw out a really big thread and write up 800 words on something. That's always the avenue like I explore. While indeed, like so some projects, I guess, are doing decent shorts. I'm too
Mm,
afraid myself to indeed because I would feel like I'm too much of a boomer for it, right? And then you would get a bunch of videos that would fall flat entirely. I do
mm,
think potentially the same with like the short form content, where as AI makes like the barrier to do it extremely low, you
yeah.
effectively get the same. Or maybe previously you had like, I don't know, globally like 5,000 influencers in the, like, the business slash
Mm,
finance scene. That now you're going to get like 500,000 or 5 million or 50 million, right? Because it's basically a bunch of accounts where a single agent is pushing content on 50 different channels. So I wonder if by then people either like were tired of that, if maybe a few winners will arise, that we're going to get like first a Cambrian explosion where everyone is using AI to generate it, and then it's going to um, converge again to a couple of accounts who will become the leading accounts, or if those channels become useless because it's just so insanely overcrowded that
no.
basically regular users just teach themselves to ignore it in full.
I don't think it will happen as like with Twitter, for example, when you saw the Kaito and the cookie tree and the InfoFi hype. A lot of posts were just engagement farming, and they were AI written, and it was botted or whatever. I think it's a bit harder with video content, because video content actually needs to be interesting, or it needs to be like a good looking guy or girl, whatever, and there needs to be something catchy about it, because people scroll very quickly. On Twitter, I feel like a lot of people are in the same circle and they see each other's tweets, right? And they engage anyway, even if you say GM or whatever, something very simple, or they just share it with each other, like, oh, let's engage. I think on TikTok and Instagram, it's more attracting new people and not per se your own friends. Imagine, for example, you have Instagram or TikTok. If you post a picture, like, I'm not sure if your profile is public, but in many cases, you will attract new people if you post a video. That's
Mm-hmm.
the idea of Reels and TikToks. With Twitter, it's more like your own followers and community will engage, but sometimes also new people. But it's more engagement farming. I think Instagram and TikTok is more about reaching new people. That's also why retail is more on TikTok and Instagram.
Yeah, that makes sense. I always feel that Twitter mainly like tends to generate bubbles, right? And the algorithm quite quickly will put you in your bubble, and then you get to see the same people over and over again. And it's kind of hard to break out of that. I love comparing like my Twitter with someone
Mm,
else to see like, are we in the same bubble or are we just in completely different worlds and we see a completely different worldview
mm,
altogether. Also feels like it changed a little bit since Nikita joined as their chief product officer, right? That they've been tinkering a
mm,
little bit with the algorithm. I'm not sure if I like how Twitter's doing it now. Still feel they struggle a lot with bots in general. I've become quite paranoid, thinking like, am I just in a bubble where 80% is a bot at the moment? Or you see like some humans have a long conversation with what's obviously a bot, and how we're maybe getting more and more like in our like own bubble, being the own human,
mm.
surrounded by 100 bots.
I have a question for you here. So you mentioned bots and like the engagement, right? So I think you have a non-doxed account, right, Carlo?
Mhm. Yeah.
Do you think, I mean, there are a lot of these non-doxed accounts, anonymous accounts, right? And I met a guy, he's a French KOL, and I live in Dubai, so I went out with him in Dubai, and he was showing me like his Twitter, and I could see he had like multiple profiles. So I asked him to like click on it, and it was a KOL. So he had multiple pages he was running. I will not say the names, but he had like 3 pages, and all of them had like 200K, 100K followers. So that moment, I realized these guys have like multiple pages. So it's a bit tricky to work with anonymous accounts, unless you know them personally, as KOLs, let's say. But I prefer to work with, let's say, tier one guys or people that are docs and have an actual community, or YouTube,
Mm-hmm.
or trading volume on, or affiliate volume on, for example, Bybit, OKX, Binance, because you can verify their impact. I think many of these non-docs KOLs are, how do I say it? It's hard to verify how much actual impact they have, because mindshare is not everything, right? It depends on the project you're working with. But many of these companies, they want to see, awareness is very important, of course, but also conversion. Is it the right fit if I work with this KOL? If you are a gaming project, for example, and you work with, let's say, a DeFi KOL, it will not convert at all. So you really need to pick who you work with, and also like having knowing the person helps, having data about the person. So yeah, I prefer to work with docs people because I can like tell, okay, this is Karel, for example, from Netherlands. He
Yeah.
is into this. Like I know more information, I have more data on the person. I think many of the main problem in CT is everyone is anonymous. And even if they show you a meme coin or a scam or whatever, they're still anonymous. There are no consequences, right? Or people maybe
Mhm.
call them out. But there are so many scams, and people just forget about it. That's the problem. So if crypto or CT as a bubble would be more, or more people would be doxxed, I think that would go a very long way and help the industry forward as well. Because you can
Yeah.
keep a person accountable, right? If I, for example, post a scam, you can say, okay, you're a fucker, you posted a scam, or whatever, you can confront me or you can sue me or whatever. But most people are just hiding behind images or NFT profile picture or some penguin or whatever, a dog.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, that's my opinion at least.
Yeah, just for those listening, like I am technically doxed, right? But my Twitter
I,
PFP is just that of a piece of art. But people have seen me at conferences, and I think if you look through my history, I've had like my own face as a PFP before. Um, but to be honest, like that's the hard part of crypto too, because there is significant risk to being doxed. Obviously, like one of my co-founders lived in Paris, and obviously Paris, there have been multiple like kidnappings over there for people who have been identified to be in crypto, right? So I get why some people are careful with it, but it annoys me to no end how sometimes you see the same serial scammers who might even be dogs technically, right? From account that they've scammed before, start doing
mm,
something new, and people just pin on it again, right? If you're like,
mm,
is there no like retribution for it, no consequences indeed? Do they just
mm,
get to like go dormant for 6 months and then just repeat the same playbook all over and get away with it? And it
yeah.
sometimes really feels like they actually can. Like there's no consequence in crypto in that sense.
Mm. What you mentioned about friends, it's very sad because I used to live in Netherlands before, of course. I know what you're talking about because if you are like, I mean, I don't think there are that many people in Netherlands that are on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you are a very famous KOL, or known. It might be dangerous, of course, in Europe, I think, um, because I mean, it's a lot of money that you have, for example, in your crypto wallet, and practically you can just take it quite easily. It's just an app on your phone, probably, or a ledger or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and if it's lost, it's really lost. I mean, you can't turn it back. It's different than a bank. So I understand where you're coming from, and you're completely right. I mean, I live in the UAE now, so I'm quite safe. But when I was in Netherlands, I was also a bit more fearful, let's say, and on my what do you call it? More careful, I would say, with where I post that I am. I know a lot of Dutch KOLs, by the way. For example, one of my friends, he's a very big Dutch KOL. And whenever he goes to a gym or somewhere, he'll post it after he's gone, or he'll post a
Yeah.
picture of something different or a different car, which I think is smart because you never know, right? Maybe someone's keeping an eye on you and just wants to grab you. Um, yeah, but I don't think criminals are that much on crypto Twitter. I think they, like the guys that there was a guy kidnapped in France or attacked in France. They're most like very high level people. So, for example, I think it was the CEO of Binance France, founder of Ledger. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they would attack a KOL per se. I don't know. Maybe it happened before.
Yeah, my thinking is maybe I shouldn't say this because I'm gonna give people strange ideas. If I
Okay.
was a previous criminal, I would go after the KOLs and not the CEO of Binance because my thinking is a KOL has like probably quite a lot in their wallets, but no professional security, right? Well, if you go for the really high level ones, they have like the support or like Binance has billions to like secure their people potentially. So probably
Yeah.
actually like the KOL segment or right like the rich slash pre-rich, but not rich enough that you have a security team. That's probably what you want to go after. And I think we've just seen it like a surprisingly large amount in Europe, like
Mm,
frighteningly money, like people getting mugged,
mm,
finger cut off, etc., because there was someone associated with it. So I'm definitely careful with it too. When I go to a conference, I don't post like which hotel I'm staying at, etc. Make sure the posts are delayed. Yeah. Um, So we're kind of like nearing the end of the cast. Took a little bit of a dark turn here, but I think this is all part of crypto, to be honest, right? Like this is something that we all see, so it's worth talking about.
No, but I think safety is a very big topic here as well. I mean, in general, look, when I lived in Europe, and I mean, I have some French colleagues, some Dutch colleagues. I tell them to as well, and I mean, they tell me that they are careful with what they post and our company, where we are, which conference or whatever. Like in Hong Kong or in Singapore or in Seoul or in Dubai, even the US, I don't have that, like, not per se fear, but I'm less careful
Mhm.
because less people know me there. But besides that, it's also more safe, especially Hong Kong or Singapore, Abu Dhabi. But yeah, hopefully it will get better in Europe. I hope so. Like, I don't think it's that bad, but especially France is bad, but Netherlands, I feel like it's still a very safe space, at least how I experience it. But just, and
Yeah,
you're right, on the doxing side, not everyone should dox. Like, but I think a lot of people are, or let's say the bad actors in the space, they hide behind a profile picture that is not them. And if more people would dox and we would be more accepting of it and also keeping people accountable, it would be good for the space.
I agree. Like, but I think we're getting there. Where, especially with legal clarification on a lot of tokens as well, the need to like hide behind a certain facade because you don't necessarily know if the SEC is going to come after you or if there's like some
Mm,
financial regulation come after you. I feel that's disappearing too. Like the ability to set up like proper companies is becoming much easier. So with that and hopefully security increasing for people, you get that indeed like everyone can go docs. And I'm hoping for the day where people are turned off by anonymous founders effectively, right? And anonymous KOLs and see that as a red flag instead of, oh, that's the good one that you have to follow.
mm,
Um, I think that that's probably like the one of the things necessary to get my mom to be interested in crypto marketing again and not turned off by it. Um,
mm.
for kind of like a closing words. So short term, you were not that bullish on crypto itself. You think it's definitely going to take like a couple more months. Are there things in the next couple of months that you are excited for in crypto? Did you think like our listeners need to keep an eye on that?
Well, I'm very bullish on tokenization. Like, if you just look at the statistics and the institutions involved and what is being tokenized, if you look at 3 or 4 years ago, 2 years ago, RWA was just like a narrative or a trend, but it didn't really happen. I think the regulations and everything is falling, or the puzzle pieces are falling into place, and we finally see a lot of things being tokenized, and BlackRock talking about it, and the big institutions talking about it. So I think tokenization is how blockchain technology is used properly, but also like apps like even Polymarket, for example. I don't like gambling at all, but Polymarket is on blockchain, right? But most people that use it don't even know. So I think that's how you attract retail, by having a very simple app, for example, and then blockchain is running the backend, but the user doesn't experience it per se. That's the how the consumers can use blockchain as well. So I would say blockchain as backend, and also tokenization are the two things I'm mainly bullish on the short term and also long term. I think the crypto market is going to have it's being filtered out, right? I mean, I was in Hong Kong last week, my team, and I noticed there are so many more high level people, institutions, B2B companies, not many retail, not much retail audience, and not many like traders or KOLs there. So I think it's being filtered out, the market, and I think it's a good sign, to be honest. Many bad actors are being filtered out.
Makes sense. So effectively for people listening, build a tokenization company or I'm quite excited by being able to loop RWAs on chain. I think that's the biggest unlock, kind of like the DeFi effectiveness and being able to get much higher yields on it. So I've reserved a part of my portfolio to be able to ape into that. Oh yeah, we're running out of time, and I don't want to keep you because you're a very busy man. So thank you so much for coming on and giving us a taste of kind of the marketing angle.
Of course, I would love to come back and discuss more as well in the future.
Amazing, yeah. And next time in Dubai, I'll hit you up and
I'll be in the
um,
Netherlands, so let's definitely catch up there.
all right, sounds good. Hey, cheers, man. Thank you so
Cheers.
much. People listening, we'll be back again next week. Cheers,
Okay.
everyone.
Cheers.